What's going on, everybody? This is Robert English, your SoCal Seahawk, and thank you for joining me on this week one of the 2021 season short yardage. And it's been a long off season. It was a long off season. It was a weird last season. But we've gotten back to football, and we've gotten back to football the way that we're used to seeing it, with fans in the stadium, screaming and yelling, real crowd noise with no cardboard cutouts in the seats and piped in sound. It's real football. It was all the way live. And it was a sight to see. It was a sight for sore eyes, if you will. And if that wasn't good enough, our Seattle Seahawks open up the season 1-0 with a good whooping on the Indianapolis Colts. It was the kind of game you want to see from your Seahawks in week one. Just super efficient. 28-16 the final score, and Seattle really never looked like they weren't in control of this game. Even at 21-10 heading into the half, and they had gone down and scored in the second quarter. You knew that they weren't going to hold them out of the end zone for the entire game, and so they got in where they fit in, but the game never seemed out of control. Seattle was in control the entire time, and I mean, the word of the day for week one at the Indianapolis Colts, the word of the day has to be efficiency, balance. I mean, what more could you ask for? What more could you possibly ask for from an offense? Russell Wilson throwing the ball for 254 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But even more impressive than that, Russell Wilson he only had 5 incompletions. He only had 1 more incompletion than he did touchdown passes. Now, that is efficient. 18 for 23, 254, and 4 touchdowns. A quarterback rating of 152.3. You can't get any closer to a perfect quarterback rating without getting a perfect quarterback rating. And for the life of me, I still don't quite completely understand how quarterback ratings are calculated, but 152.3 is damn near perfect. It's not perfect. I think it's 156.2 or I forget what the actual number is, but it was close. It's close. And then running the ball, Chris Carson, 16 carries, 91 yards. He did have 1 fumble, but you give him a mulligan on that one, as it got peanut punched out of there. It wasn't hopefully this is not a return to Chris Carson's a couple of years ago he had a little bit of a fumbling issue, but he's taking great care to fix that. And I'm not going to go ahead and assume that he's returning back to that status. It was a good play by the defense to punch that ball out. We'll give him a pass on that one this time. Tyler Lockett. I mean, what more do you need from Tyler Lockett before you just recognize that he is an elite receiver? Not that anyone is not recognizing it, but I mean, the guy is just humble and quiet and goes out there and makes plays over and over and over again. The first touchdown pass he caught on that third, I think it was a third and 4 or 3rd and 6, and Russell just tossed it up there. And the way he adjusted for that ball, he was looking over his left shoulder, and he had to follow that ball all the way around to his right shoulder and then still lean out forward to make the catch. I mean, that's one of the hardest catches to make in football, period, in anywhere. Catching, if you, it's hard to catch a cold like that, let alone a teardrop touchdown pass in the NFL. I mean, just watch the replay of how he just tracks that ball from his left side to his right side. And again, it wasn't just turning his head. He had to turn his whole body and lean out for that. That was, I wonder what do they call it? What's the stat thing called? You know, the upgraded stats or the special stats. I can't, the name is escaping me at the moment, but, yeah, I wonder what the catch probability is, or was on that play. Had to be pretty low, but Tyler Lockett has, been, you know, making that stuff look easy the last few years. DK Metcalf was a little bit, you know, slow to get going. I don't know if they just were taking him away. It seemed like they were shading to his side. So he didn't really open up till the second half. But when he did, he opened up very much like DK Metcalf does. 5 targets, 4 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. It's funny that the touchdown that he caught, I called the play when they were at the line of scrimmage. I saw the lineup and I'm looking at the defensive backfield and I'm like, oh, you got Metcalf in the slot with no help in the middle. That's going to be a skinny post right there from the slot. Skinny post. Russell Wilson snapped the ball. Touchdown. Skinny post right there from the slot. And now I was like, up, there it is. There it is. I felt like a genius. I knew what I was talking about for once in my life. But you can't have a conversation about this game without having a conversation about the defense. You know what we didn't talk about? What we don't get to talk about right now or following the game or all the way into at least next Sunday. What we're not going to talk about is Ken Norton Jr. Because people were calling, and I'm not going to act holier than thou. I'm not going to hide behind this microphone and act like I wasn't one of them. I was finally turned against Ken Norton last season after the Seattle's, apparent ineptitude on defense for the first half of the season, nearly 3/4 of the season. We just could not get it together on defense. And I was an apologist for Ken Norton all the way till the end, till finally I'm like, you know what? I can't, Ken is not doing it. But Ken did it on Sunday morning against the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz, 25 for 38 for 251, 2 touchdowns, sacked him 3 times. We had a pass rush, the ever elusive pass rush that we just haven't had. We didn't have for most of last year, and then it came on late. I mean, the big talk or the big question was the Seattle defense going to be able to continue at the beginning of this year how they finished the season last year? And based on week 1, it looks like we are. What a game by Rasheem Green. Rasheem Green was out there on the field playing football, which was a beautiful thing to see, for a guy that, we're looking to, we need somebody to step up. And he had a great game. A great game. Yeah, I mean, the defense, he had a sack. Benson Mayowa had a sack. Darrell Taylor had a sack. Bobby Wagner was all over the field. I think Bobby Wagner had 13 tackles combined. Jordan Brooks had 11 tackles. Man, it was a great sight to see on both sides of the ball. There was really no miscue. There was very, very few miscues in this game. Very few miscues. It looked more like Seahawk football. You know, the only thing that was missing from Seahawk football was the false starts. And I'm not mad that we're missing those. You know, I wonder what would have been different if T.Y. Hilton had been in the game, somebody who was able to take the top off the defense a little more. But either way, it was an efficient day for the Seahawks. And it was great to see. We didn't even own time of possession, which was funny. I mean, the first drive of the game, I think Indy took like 9 seconds off the clock, or excuse me, 9 minutes off the clock, just to go all the way down to to get into the red zone and then kick a field goal. So that bend but don't break certainly applied there. I loved in the fourth quarter when we gave up the touchdown late that we were able to get to Carson Wentz on the 2-point conversion. It was just that all the plays were made at the right time. All the plays were made at the right time. It seemed like last year we would make plays in the middle, but at the beginning or the end, you know, where it really counted, you know, those spots where it really counted was when we couldn't make the play. But intermittent of those, you know, pivotal plays, you know, we would make a play here and there, offensively and defensively. But on the ones that counted, on the third downs, you know, on the big plays, those would be the ones where we failed. And on Sunday, we reversed that. Rashad Penny. I've done a lot of apologizing for Rashad Penny. I really, really, really hope that he finds a way to make himself, you know, an asset to this team this year. I've been defending him against my colleagues at Seattle Sports Union. By the way, make sure you go check out Seattle Sports Union. That's seattlesportsunion.com on the web, at Seattle Sports U on Twitter and Facebook. Check them out. We got myself, we got Abraham DeWeese, Matthew Page, Richard Michelson, the rest of the team. All things Seattle sports, from the Mariners to the Mist. And of course the Seattle Seahawks. Catch all of our unlicensed professional opinions. But I've been defending Rashad Penny for a couple of years now, and the fact that he's still on the roster to me suggests that we see something in him. But the old adage that the best ability is availability, applies to him if it doesn't apply to anyone else. And the guy's been hurt, and week 1 he goes out there and he ends up with a calf injury. So I'm hoping that that's a minor thing and he can get back on the field. But we have guys, you know, we have some next man up. We got DJ Dallas and Alex Collins, who have been serviceable at the very least when they've been asked to step up and play football. So and Chris Carson was out there just beasting over him. Chris Carson had some great runs, some strong runs, busted a couple big ones. Gosh, just a good game. It was a good game. If we look forward to next week, however, we should get a test. It should be a test this coming week as we go up against the Tennessee Titans. The game will be at home, which is good news, I would say. But you know, we got to play against a running back who is formidable, to say the very least. However, Tennessee got their butts kicked. I don't think that anybody really expected Tennessee to get the whooping that they did from the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, you know, it does really calls to, you know, how good our division is. Even the worst team in our division is able to go in there and whoop up on a team that some people had to go to the Super Bowl last year. And until I watched how inept they were on Sunday, they were kind of I don't even know if you can call them a dark horse, but I was thinking, you know what? How are you going to beat Tennessee? with Derrick Henry, and the receivers they have, Julio Jones and AJ Brown, like how you gonna stop that team? But the Arizona Cardinals apparently didn't have any problem stopping the team. And Kyler Murray played his butt off. They had no answers for him. Whatever the case was, I'm hoping that the bug that they were bit by on Sunday, I hope that carries over as they walk into the clink. Not the clink. I can't do it. I can't do it this year. Into Lumen Field. I hope that bug carries into Lumen Field, into the light. I gotta think of a nickname. What a nickname for the new stadium name. CenturyLink was good because the clink sounds tough. Lumen. I think I said this last year too. Lumen. What do you call it? The light bulb? I don't know. Gotta think of something for Lumen Field. But anyway, coming into Lumen Field, let's go ahead and hope that Derrick Henry doesn't come in there with a chip on his shoulder. Because 17 attempts for 58 yards. Any team that holds Derrick Henry to those kind of numbers did a great job. Less than 4 yards a carry for that guy. You did all that anyone could ask you for. And they, Julio Jones, 6 targets, only 3 catches. AJ Brown, 8 targets, 4 catches, did have a touchdown. But it was, more or less all for naught, right? They got whooped. 38-13 by the Cardinals. So hopefully we can go in there and piggyback on that and start this season off 2-0. It looks like we just do not have the option of losing this season. There's no option to lose this year. The West is looking like the best. The AFC West and the NFC West, both undefeated coming out of week 1. I know it's only one game, but hey, this is what it is. The West might be the best division in football on both sides. So make your Super Bowl picks accordingly. We will get back in to talk a little bit more about the Titans and the Seahawks as we get closer to game day. But I want to thank you for joining in and listening. Like I said, it's been a long off season, but we're gonna try to do this hard this year and not have any misses week to week. And make sure that you like and subscribe and follow. You can catch Short Yardage with your SoCal Seahawk on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on Podbean. Follow on one or the other or all 3. This is Robert English, your SoCal Seahawk, signing off. Go Hawks.